Hi, thanks for joining me. Today we're talking about proactively planning your semester. Specifically, we're talking about summer and just talking about some strategies and ways to start off organized and prepared to hopefully eliminate or prevent stress and to have everything go as smoothly as we can. So the first thing that I want to start off by talking about is just how summer semester can be different from other semesters. And obviously everybody's different, but kind of to start off with, in ways that summer can be more difficult. Let's be honest, the nice weather can be really distracting. Friends are inviting you out to the beach or out to the pool or to do something. So definitely for some people that's difficult. For some people, there are more things to balance, whether it's you have children and they have activities over the summer, or maybe you're somebody who work picks up during the summer and there's more shifts to be taken. That can definitely be a challenge as well. And then lastly, they are potentially faster, right? There's a faster pace. There's more material covered in a shorter amount of time. Remember, the class is the same amount of material, the same kind of quality of work, just shrunk into a shorter amount of time if you're taking a cycle class. So be keeping that in mind, right? But let's talk about, for some people, they're easier. For a lot of people, yeah, it's a faster class, but instead of dealing with 4 different subject areas, maybe you're only dealing with 1 or 2 at a time. And that can definitely be easier. You're balancing less different academic subjects. And again, that can be easier for some people. And some people have less to balance outside of academics. Again, everybody's different. It's going to be dependent on you, but if you have less things going on during the summer, then maybe that is an easier and better time for you. So something that I haven't talked about in this workshop before, but I made sure to add in, kind of the number 1 step to a successful semester is looking through that syllabus in detail as soon as possible, and figuring out if there's anything that's going to be a huge barrier. So, I put here that, June 1st is the last day to drop a class for either full summer or cycle 1. Let's say you look through that syllabus and it's more work or even a faster pace than you expected, or it overlaps with something you didn't realize that you were going to have to balance. Knowing that as soon as possible and talking with your advisor and talking with their professor as soon as possible is what you want to do. So talk with the faculty if it's something that can be worked around. If you're not on campus for a certain day and they can make some sort of exception, then great. But if you're not going to be able to complete that class, you want to withdraw, or you want to drop the class before the withdraw date so that it's not showing up on your transcript at all, rather than having a W if you don't have to. So again, everybody's different. It's going to be really kind of a one-on-one situation, but just talking with an advisor so that you can make the best informed choice. All right, so we'll skip the poll right now. One thing I do hear a lot when I start talking about organization is that people will say, oh, I've never really needed to be organized before and I'm okay. But there are some reasons why. If you are new to college, it might be different. If you're new to online, it might be different. If you're new to a summer class, it might be different. So let's talk about some of that. So whether it's new to college or new to online or new to this faster pace, there's definitely a lot more pressure on you as the student to be organized and to be managing what's coming up, and less reminders from faculty about, hey, this is due tomorrow or this is due next week. It's going to be more on you to keep track of that, but also keeping track of what's going on in life and making sure that it all works together. There will be less or no time to work on assignments in class. Again, that kind of goes back to when we're in a more traditional environment. But you know, it's on your time to decide when and how this work is going to get done. The other big thing, the reason we need our planning is because there's a lot of long-term assignments for some classes. Even if you haven't had that experience yet, you might still, you know, have it in an upcoming class. And that's when, even if you want to tell me that you're really good at doing stuff the night before, some of these long-term assignments, it's just not possible. Whether it's the paper or project is so large that it needs to be done over a long period of time, or if it's something that builds upon itself. Do you need to read a particular book or watch a movie before you're able to write the paper? Do you need to interview somebody to then write about it? So again, knowing how you need to take baby steps for these larger projects or larger papers, planning is what helps make that less stress, but also helps you put your best foot forward. Lastly, my biggest reason is that I do think it helps with reducing stress and anxiety, right? We all have had that feeling where you're like, I feel like I should be doing something right now, but I don't know what it is. And so you don't allow yourself to enjoy your free time and you don't allow yourself to have fun, but you're not necessarily being productive either. And what I want is for you to be organized in a way that when you have work to do, you know what it is and you get it done. And that way, when you do have that free time and you want to have fun, you want to spend time with friends or family, you can do that guilt-free. Because you need to have that downtime and that enjoyment, or you're not going to be able to put your best foot forward in school. So those are just some of the reasons, again, why I think organization, at least on some level, is really important. It looks different for everybody, but I do think it's critical. So how do we get started? You're like, okay, Lauren, you've convinced me. What do we do now? So I want to talk really briefly about the two ways that I break this down. I believe in time management and assignment management. I think a lot of times, K-12, things like that, we're taught more of the assignment management. Let's put things on the calendar. Let's put things in our planner. And that is super key. But if we don't think about time management, it's not going to flow nicely and it's not going to kind of be as effective. So time management is, where is my time going? What things throughout the day do I spend? What tasks do I do with my time, right? What commitments do I have? Whereas what needs to get done is assignment management. So when I have that time set aside, what is my task list? What assignments do I have to get done? And this is true for academics, but this applies to work, your job, but it can apply to personal time, care of your house. So for example, your time management is, I have 2 hours to clean over the weekend before my friends get here. Assignment management is what needs to get done. I need to do laundry, I need to do the dishes, etc. Time management for school is, I'm setting aside 4 hours for my paper or for English class. What needs to get done? Well, I need to do research for my paper. I need to do my outline. So hopefully we'll go more in depth, but hopefully you're seeing how those two pieces work together to create a more efficient system. So where do we start? How do we even kind of jump into this? Hopefully you have had some experience with the syllabus. If any of you are kind of new to college, a syllabus is a packet of papers. It's usually 3 to 10 pages, maybe more, maybe less, that has everything you need to know about the class in it. So dates, how the course is graded, the details of the assignment, depends on the faculty. Some are more detailed, some it's more of just a general overview. So those are important. We need the information in there. And a lot of times when I ask a student, how do you stay organized? How do you know what's due next week? They'll tell me they look at the syllabus, which isn't totally wrong, but the problem is it's not always organized in a format that helps you stay organized. And let's say you are in a situation where you have multiple classes going on, it's not realistic or efficient for you to be flipping through each syllabus and maybe calendars for personal commitments, whether it's, your kids' calendars or your spouse's calendar, that's not all efficient, right? So we are going to take the information from the syllabus that our professor gave us. We need to do more with it. So I like to start by managing time by getting kind of a template that will outline a week. I'm not expecting you on any level to do a new one of these each week. I would say you're getting a general template and you want to outline what an ideal week looks like for you. What is the ebb and flow of each day? I can always get you in touch with this option, but honestly, if you Google weekly hourly planner, there's a lot of great options. This particular template, if you find their website, you can adjust, I did 30-minute increments. You could do 15 minutes, you can do an hour, you can change the start times, all of that good stuff. If you are a technology person, iCal, Google Calendar, any of those work really great for this as well. But the idea is to be able to have an entire week in one glance, one visual, and to be able to put it somewhere on your bathroom mirror, in your room, or on your, closet door, whatever works for you so that you see it and you can kind of set yourself up for success. Again, we'll skip this brainstorm. I've kind of done it for you today. You need to think about your academics in the scope of your whole life. If you try to keep your personal life and work life and school life all separate, I just don't think that you're able to be as successful. We need to figure out how they all flow together and able to make you the most successful. And if you're not putting in time for the things that you need, I just truly believe that if you're not physically and mentally healthy, it's going to be really hard to be successful. Obviously it's possible, but it's much more challenging. And so considering all of these aspects, and you're not going to have everything. So I always, pet care is my example. You don't have a pet, obviously that's not something you need to budget for. But if you do have one, that takes a lot of time and you need to budget time in your day and your week to take care of them. So when you do your hourly breakdown, putting down everything that you need to do, not just need to do, but things that you want to, right? Things you need for self-care, time with friends, a 30-minute walk, whatever it is. So definitely an important piece. The other thing that I want you to keep in mind is to please be realistic when you put these times down. So I think that our society has this stereotype that for some reason it's just better, I guess, to be a morning person. I think there's more positive connotation that comes with that. And that's not necessarily true, right? Like if you don't function well in the morning and you really do your best work at 11 p.m., then please definitely schedule your time to reflect that. But vice versa, if you don't work well in the evening, I can say I'm in that category, then I try to schedule my more difficult tasks or my more important things towards the morning because that's when I'm most effective. Neither is better than the other. Just be creating your schedule for you and what your needs are, right? So the other thing that I want to talk about when you're scheduling time for your classes, we need to schedule time for homework. And homework is not in the traditional, I think we think a lot of like, oh, a worksheet is homework. But when I say homework, I mean anything that has to do with a particular class that is outside of class time. And so that's, reading, whether it's reading a novel assigned for class, whether it's reading the textbook, any tutoring appointments that you have, all phases of writing papers from drafting and researching, all the way through proofreading, homework in the more traditional sense, any office hours or group work meetings that you have to attend, time researching, any watching of videos. So whether they're assigned by your faculty or they're videos that you're finding on YouTube to help supplement your education, all of these things are considered homework. So having said that, typically the rule of thumb, for every hour you're in class, you're going to be spending 2 hours outside of class. So a 3-credit class, you kind of count 3 hours for in-class time, and then you'd have another 6 of study. So you want to estimate whether it has a live session or not, about 9 hours a week for each 3-credit class you're in. And it differs a lot. And some weeks it might not be nearly that much, right? Some weeks you might only spend a few hours, but there are times where it's finals week, it's midterm, you have everything due at once, and you are going to wish that you had that time budgeted. So making sure you're scheduling enough time, and when on your weekly calendar, don't just say homework, but specify which class you're putting that time aside. So, okay, Wednesdays from, 2 to 4, I'm working on math. And, on this day, I'm working on my psychology class. And why do we do that? We do that because, again, helping with the focus and kind of the stress that sometimes comes with feeling overwhelmed. Okay, I might have a million things to do, but it gives me a starting place. Okay, it is Tuesday, and Tuesdays are my day for psychology, and I know that's where I'm going to start. If I get it done and I can jump to something else and I still feel motivated, that's great. But you want to give yourself a concrete starting place so that when you are feeling overwhelmed, you have a place to jump in. So hopefully that is helpful and makes sense. If you are in Visions and RX, I'm happy to always have one-on-one chats. A lot of this is really kind of personal based on who you are as a person and what you have going on. So that was their time management. Where's our time going? And now I want to talk a little bit more about our assignment management. So this is kind of more of our to-do list piece. You are going to want to grab the syllabus for each of your classes. You're going to grab your wall calendar, your planner, whatever it is that you prefer. With this piece, I do prefer a pen and paper option, but it's whatever works for you. I'm totally fine with that. Optional, colored pens, stickers, washi tape, highlighters, Post-it notes, whatever. If you want to, if that makes you excited about it, great. If that's more overwhelming, don't worry about it. In general, our step here is to give ourselves due dates and a plan for the whole semester so we can see how tasks ebb and flow and what times are busy and what times are easier. And when you're looking through the syllabus, you're going to look for the flow of each of your courses, because that's going to also help you figure out what days you want to set time aside for, right? So this is an example, something I created for me as a faculty member, kind of the flow of a class that I'm teaching in the fall. And you'll see, so on Mondays, I post a weekly introduction. I post a first small assignment to get people started. Then we have nothing on Tuesday. On Wednesday, you'll see that we meet as a class for my live section. We talk about the homework that was due, and then we assign the remaining work. And then there's a few days before the remaining work is due on Sunday. So that's what I kind of think about as a faculty member. But what does that mean for you as the student? Okay, well, probably on Tuesday, I want to put some time aside for the class, right? Because you've seen that the assignment is kind of posted on Monday and it's going to be expected to be talked about on Wednesday. So, all right, in my time management, I'm going to put some time for this class Tuesday. And then I have some flexibility based on the other things in my life, but I'm probably going to want to pick some time either Thursday, Friday, or Saturday to do the second part of that class. Now, you might not get a cutesy little diagram for each of your classes, but I hope this helps illustrate how each class probably has some sort of natural flow to it and how you want to plan what day you're working on things specifically based on that. All right. As I think the most important slide. So we're going to take our syllabi or whatever has all of the important due dates. It's posted on Blackboard, print that off. And you're going to go class by class, and you're going to put all of those important dates into your planner. But you're going to do yourself a favor, and you're going to give yourself some start dates as well. So for example, if we have an exam, I don't know if this has happened to anybody, but let's say the test is on a Monday, and if you don't get in the habit of flipping that page of the planner soon enough, that exam sneaks up on you, right? So you might 7 to 10 days or more, depending on how big the exam is, put a note to yourself, 7 days till math exam, 15 days till psychology exam on chapters 3 through 8, right? Giving yourself that note ahead of time. Maybe you start studying that day, maybe you don't, but at least you know that that exam's not going to sneak up on you. We're going to do the same for large papers and large projects. The date you want to start, maybe the date you want to be halfway done. If it's a paper you want reviewed, maybe a goal of this is the date I want to have it to my tutor to review for me. Again, all of that stuff so that you can have those nice little reminders and prevent that stress from having to cram the night before when it's not necessary. It does take a little bit of time to get this set up, but I think the amount of time and stress that it saves on you is just so worthwhile. You're also going to see how your classes overlap. Do they all have things due at the same time? And maybe you want to space that out for yourself so that you're not cramming. Or maybe there's a really important project due around an important date in your life, a birthday or something. Can you get ahead in the class so that you can still enjoy that special day? Again, these are just favors that we're doing for our future self that will really help us feel less stressed out. Sometimes people say, yeah, but my professor might change things. I still think having everything laid out in one place is worthwhile, even if you do have to cross out or erase some things. The fact that things are not going to sneak up on you in the same way, it is just really worthwhile. Bonus tip, some of our faculty are really great with Blackboard and things are submitted through Blackboard, and that's where they love doing, and all of your grades are always there. But others don't, especially when we're in person. If you're not having to hand in via Blackboard, sometimes it's harder to grade there. So it doesn't hurt as you're putting those assignments in your planner, kind of looking at how is the class graded? Is it 4 big exams? Is it lots of small projects? And then you can kind of keep track of your own grades, and that way you always know how you're doing in a class. And again, if that's something you're really interested in, we can always talk about strategies. So I know that was a lot of information. I hope some of these ideas were helpful. Again, they apply to summer classes, but they apply to regular semester classes. Everybody's going to be so different, right? Everything that you have going on is going to look different from person to person. So know that you're always welcome to contact me or another advisor if you are wanting to whether do this together or just need some help, some tips. I love to hear if you do have any strategies that you use or you find anything really helpful. Sometimes people will show me new apps they're using. I love to hear all about all of that. But in the end, I hope this helps you get organized and have a great start to your semester. And again, thanks for joining.